Ever heard a story so strange it has to be true? Well, this one might just be it. It all starts with a bit of a royal kerfuffle at Buckingham Palace. A legal secretary, Mr. Jumbil, was sifting through some old paperwork when he stumbled upon a real treasure, or so he thought. Inside a dusty old bin, he found a lost letter from none other than Queen Elizabeth herself. This letter, apparently misplaced during a spring clean, was an official invitation. It was meant for two of India's most renowned music directors, Shankar and Jackie Chan, along with the legendary singer Mohammed Rafi. The purpose? To perform at the coronation ceremony of King Charles. Now a royal coronation is a massive deal. The crown used for the occasion is the historic St. Edward's crown, usually kept under lock and key in the Martin Tower at the Tower of London, alongside the Imperial State Crown and the Tudor crown. Imagine the honor of being invited to such an event. The story gets weirder. Apparently, a yapping crow had somehow gotten wind of the invitation and told the music directors, who were thrilled and agreed to come. But alas, the letter was never posted. It got mixed up with other papers and forgotten. When Mr. Jumbil discovered this, the quiet coronation had already passed. He was terribly upset. The grand performance that could have been never was. Determined to do something, though what, he wasn't sure, Mr. Jumbil decided he needed an investigator. He sent a messenger to find a man known as Mr. Guttra. Now, Mr. Guttra's real name was Smith. He was a British science teacher who had spent time working in Saudi Arabia. To protect himself from the intense desert heat and blowing sand, he often wore a guttra, the traditional head covering. The name stuck. Mr. Smith, now affectionately or perhaps cheekily called Mr. Guttra, was also a brilliant investigator. He met with the distressed Mr. Jumbil, listened to the tale of the lost letter and the missed opportunity. Mr. Guttra agreed to help, but the big question hung in the air. Help with what? The coronation was over. The musicians were never invited. There was no mystery to solve, or so it seemed. His mind raced, turning the problem over and over. Feeling a bit stuck, Mr. Guttra knew he couldn't crack this alone. He needed a fresh perspective, a team with unique skills, so he called on his two most trusted associates. First, there was Tim, a bright, blonde 8-year-old schoolboy with a mind full of curiosity and surprisingly practical ideas. And second, there was Zip, a state-of-the-art drone. Zip wasn't just any drone. It was equipped with an advanced AI that allowed it to think, reason, and even communicate. Mr. Guttra gathered his young team and explained the whole bizarre situation. The Queen's lost letter, the coronation that had already happened, and the uninvited musical legends. He laid the problem at their feet, hoping they could see a solution he was missing. Tim, with the straightforward logic of a child, didn't hesitate. He looked at Mr. Guttra and said the solution was obvious. They needed to go to the source. They had to travel to the heart of the Bombay film industry, find Shankar, Jackie Chan, and Mohammed Rafi, and tell them the story in person. Maybe they could still arrange a special performance, or at least deliver the Queen's heartfelt, albeit late, invitation. Zip, the clever drone, processed the data and were in agreement. It was the most logical course of action. Mr. Guttra, who had been tangled in the complexities of royal protocol, was struck by the simple genius of the plan. He agreed immediately. The team packed their rucksacks with clothes, supplies, and special recording equipment, just in case. Their mission was set. Destination: Bombay. They arrived at the bustling Bombay railway station, the air thick with the sounds and smells of the vibrant city. But they immediately hit a wall. Bombay was huge, and they had no idea how to find the homes of these famous personalities. They needed a guide, someone who knew the city's secrets. And that is when they met the most unlikely helper imaginable, a 3-month-old talking bear cub named Gogi. Gogi was utterly charming. After every few words she spoke, she would let out a huge laugh followed by a tiny sneeze, and then politely say, "Sorry." Her way of speaking was a unique blend of English, a thick Bombay accent, and local slang. "Yes, Baba, take you there home," she'd say, giggling and sneezing. "Bus karna banana ki kasam." Tim and Zip were absolutely fascinated. Zip's processors whirred excitedly, recording this new Bombay language and adding it to his vocabulary database. Tim, always eager to learn new accents from around the world, tried his best to mimic Gogi's speech. Mr. Guttra, however, was less than amused. As a former English teacher, his ears were finely tuned to proper grammar and pronunciation. He saw this as a teachable moment and was ready to give young Gogi a full lesson in conversational English. But Gogi, lost in her own world of laughs and sneezes, paid him no attention at all. She was just happy to lead her new friends through the city. With Gogi leading the way, they hailed a rickshaw, that's a rickshaw, and weaved through the chaotic traffic. Finally, they arrived at the address they had for the great music director Shankar, but their excitement quickly faded. The house was locked up, dusty and silent. A small baby monkey whose name was Shaxi was sitting on the wall. It mumbled in a sad little voice, "He died years ago." A wave of disappointment washed over the team. Undeterred, they went to find Jackie Chan, Shankar's musical partner. The answer was the same. A neighbor informed them that the great Jackie Chan had also passed away many years before. Their last hope was the golden-voiced singer, Mohammed Rafi. They traveled to his last known address, only to be told the heartbreaking news. The legendary singer was also gone, having been laid to rest in the Juhu Muslim cemetery long ago. The reality of the situation finally sank in. Their mission, which had started with such purpose, had led them to a dead end. Literally, Mr. Guttra stood there, looking at the disappointed faces of Tim and Zip, and in that moment of failure, he found the solution. It wasn't the solution they had been looking for, but it was the right one. He turned to Tim and Zip, a sense of clarity on his face. He explained that Mr. Jumbo's letter was simply out of date. The people it was intended for were no longer with us. Dead people can't come to a coronation. It was a sad truth, but it was the truth. Their journey, though it didn't end as planned, had brought them the answer they needed. Mr. Jumbo was simply too late, and he needed to let go of this outdated piece of paper and the regret it carried. A sense of peace settled over the group. Mr. Guttra looked up at the sky, a small smile on his face, and said, "Thank God. The mystery was solved." Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more strange adventures.